So, good afternoon to all of you. This is something all of you know, and this morning Bhante Vineta started. So that everyday life, people as Buddhists, these are the 5 principles that we are reminding everybody, right? In a daily life, we remind these and redetermine to practice. Sometimes some people think these 5, only 5 principles, they are very simple, but they are difficult too, right? I'm asking you, what's your experience? Yes. When we really think of it, seems to be easy, but what happens is everybody is reciting habitually. Habitual recitation doesn't do any good. We have to have determination, as I mentioned yesterday. So it's very helpful. Buddha's perfections are very helpful for us to improve ourselves. So without determination, we always may be violating these principles. Simple like, thinking we are simple, we observe, we are Buddhist, but what we're carrying is a label to most of the time. I'm not blaming anybody, but really they have to have that mindfulness as a key and keep practicing. So there are many sutras in the Tripitaka that Buddha mentioned. Buddha reminded us. Buddha always was teaching to people according to their capacity. So his teachings always mention that anupubba sikha, anupubba charya, anupubba patipada. Gradual discipline. I think sometimes some people even don't like to hear the word discipline. There's something, I don't know, language, it's not my language. I have found that because different connotation could be that could be the reason for it, however, but there's no other word for the sikha. These are helping us to change our behaviors. So we should be willing to do that. With that willingness, if we start, definitely we can do it. Buddha said that, you can do it. Simple, he always encouraging. Be mindful. Practice. You can do it. So this everyday 5 principles, out of that what we have here is to talk this morning, Bhante had 1 and 2, and now start with sexual misconduct, lying and taking intoxicants. So I interpret, of course, Buddha has mentioned that in sexual misconduct part, but in other words, I interpret also differently. I add something more, looking at the word kamesu miccachara. When we say kamesu, that's a plural verb. So we are entertaining our 5 senses. It's interesting, look at it. We have only 5 senses. We bonded to this world through this. So overindulge. So when Buddha did not say that you should not enjoy your life. He says, he knew that it is hard, it is difficult. This giving up, as I said, is kind of renunciation too. Renouncing your pleasures. So, therefore, it is something difficult. Since he knew that, he encouraged us to little by little, let go. That's it, encouragement. Now, let's see if we say that what is misconduct, what is the right conduct. So, misconduct means there's a common practice, common approval, there's husband and wife. So some people, they are not satisfied with that. Having their own partners and partnership, so dissatisfaction comes and they search for, they are greedy. Pleasure-seeking person, if you become greedy for the searching for pleasure with somebody else, and for some reasons, there are people in such a way, they do search for different partners, or else, according to the sutras, anybody who has a partner, let's say there's a daughter is always under parents, guardians. There's a sister who is always, brother is there to protect. There is maybe somebody who is still married and does not have a husband, yet they may be protected. In different cultures, different practices are there. Like in Indian culture, they always do protect father-in-law and mother-in-law is there. For they take care of their daughter-in-law. Similarly, in different cultures, they do practice, but there's someone to protect that person. So if you try to engage or having such responsibilities, person, if someone is, taking advantage of that woman, so that is misconduct. Right conduct is always that your legal partner. So if you are seeking for more pleasure, looking for other people, that is kind of misconduct. According to Buddha's teaching, in the sutras, different places, Buddha talks about that. So therefore, people have to be mindful. We have to learn Dhamma. When they don't know Dhamma, that's one reason. Why do we do wrong things? Because when you don't know that, you are not aware of these things. But Buddha's explanation is such that we have to aware of to do the Dhamma, to do the right things. And I choose, because since we are just talking, Abhinandana Sutta, rewards. There are many, remember, in the discourse, this is coming from Anguttara Nikaya. And also the other one also from Anguttara Nikaya, Kesi Sutta. Very interesting. I thought it's interesting, kind of. And don't think that only two are there, but there are also, in Anguttara Nikaya, there are other places. Visahak Uposata Sila, about, talking about, but it's not Pancha Sila, it's 8 precepts. There are many. Why we are learning these things is to remember for ourselves and train. We are training ourselves. Even though you are here now these few days with us, we ourselves have to train. We are training. Being mindfully, we practice. That help us to improve our spirituality. Nothing else. Our mind, when our minds go crazy, so definitely we have to find protection for it. Otherwise, what we will do is wrongdoing and extending our samsaric sojourn. Long samsara. So what Buddha has seen it. Buddha himself mentioned. If you like to see, there are several, but out of that I remember one, Neranja Sutta. In that particular discourse, he mentioned about how much he could see into the past. Eons and eons, he says. He could see through into the past, eons and eons, and himself as well as the others. So searching for it, he says, too long. We can see the beginning, we can see the end. That's how he said. Anamatak goyang bhikkave sansaro pubba kotina panyayati. Beginning we cannot see, the end we cannot see. Such a long time. Keep going and going and going. Lucky we don't see it. Right? In one sense. And also we may not believe it either. Sometimes, could it be so? I trust the Buddha. Buddha would never come to this world to lie to us. I have a great confidence on him. He has seen it. Whatever he saw, whatever he said is true. But we have to be, sometimes, suppose now you added something to this one, that you have to put, he has given that. You have to put it into different categories and see, check. Check and balance, he encourages us to do. Mahapadesa. So then when you put into that if it makes sense, then you take it. To do all these things, we have to learn Dhamma. Learning Dhamma is the only thing that helps us. Now, if you look at this particular sutta, that's also he mentioned Abhinandana Sutta, rewards of, and also there are things how to practice. I could only pick up this two. There's one particular discourse also in Anguttara Nikaya. He talks about how we should be practicing. So many different ways, according to those personalities, he was addressing it. And K.C. Sutta, horse trainer, that's also very interesting. K.C. Sutta, he's a horse trainer. He comes to the Buddha. It looks like, according to the sutta, that he has been in the Jeta Grove area, and knowing him, and K.C. could be one popular or famous guide, horse trainer, and he come and ask, get involved with conversation with the Buddha. And he asked him, Lord, Buddha says that you, K.C., are trained man, a trainer of tameable horses. And how do you train a tameable horses? We know that tame horses, elephants, there are many people train their animals. Animal trainers are even the dogs, right? They do train. So going through that training, they bring it to certain decent level of their behavior. But horse trainer, they train horses for their purpose. Either if he's training for the king, maybe he trained them for go to war. And the others maybe for pleasure riding and things like that. And also they did, in India at that time, there were people who had chariot and using four or eight horses in their chariot. They're very rich people. We remember there's one coming to see the Buddha also. With very pride, so much, wealth those people had, and they come to see the Buddha. And here, what this man is doing, he came to see him, and I start asking question. Lord, train a tameable horse, sometimes with gentleness, sometimes with harshness, sometimes both gentle and harshness. And if a tameable horse doesn't submit either to a mild training or to a harsh training, or to a mild and harsh training, Casey, what do you do? So there are three methods of training. Gentle, kindly he is doing it. And if it's not working, kind and in a gentle way, he used the harsh method, becoming rude, speaking loudly, making fearful of them, and then using both methods. So this is, nobody can say that how is animal is going to behave. So the trainer, he find all these three different ways and do training. Now Buddha asked, why? What do you do with the one that's not possible to train? then it says, if a tameable horse doesn't submit either to a mild training or to a harsh training or to a mild and harsh training, Lord, then I kill it. He does the killing. Why is that? I think, don't let this be a disgrace to my lineage teachers, but the Blessed One, Lord, is the unexcelled trainer of tameable people. How do you train a tameable person? So now, I think that's what he said is the truth. He doesn't want bring any defame, disgrace to his lineage. So I think even that happens today too, right? Same thing happened. But now, Buddha opened the discussion for this person to teach the Dhamma. That's the purpose. Remember, whatever the topic he pick up, so he brings into the Dhamma. That is the method that Buddha was teaching. Seeing the person, understanding, his nature, so that he used the same wordings to train him, to give him the Dhamma. Casey, I train tameable persons sometimes with gentleness, sometimes with harshness, sometimes with both gentleness and harshness. So then it's very easy for horse trainer to be friendly with him. He is very close to same as myself. So his mind become very friendly to him, closing to him. So, seeing that, hearing it, so I think he was very pleasant now. In using gentleness teach, such is a good bodily conduct, such is the result of good bodily conduct, such is a good verbal conduct, such is the result good verbal conduct, such is a good mental conduct, such is the result of good mental conduct, such are the devas, such are the human beings. So, as soon as I giving a joyful feeling into his mind, he started teaching him. So he started teaching, we are always active in three different ways, right? Verbally, mentally, and physically. Kayadwara, manodwara, and vachidwara. As a door. From these doors that we enter into the either wrong or right path. So that is why he is using this. Bodily conduct. What are the bodily conducts that we have? Panatipata veramani, adinnadana veramani, kamesu miccāchāra veramani. These three principles. Those are the physical actions that we do. So if we do anything wrong, any misconducts, so definitely you learned two of them this morning. Resultants are coming after us, right? Anything that we do, remember the first gatha in the Dhammapada? Mano pubbangama dhamma, mano setta manomaya, manasache paduttena bhasitiva karotu. If we do anything, physically, mentally or verbally, with polluted mind, paduttena manasa, impure mind, if we do or if we say anything that brings unhappiness to us. The result is, when we do something in such a way, with impure mind if we do, the result is going to be like, simile is always there. Dhammapada is a very good place for us to learn very short Dhamma. Maybe there's a story always. Remember, if you can read it at least one stanza a day, that would help you. Bhattaka tatonang dukkham anveti chakkam vahato padam. Dukkham anveti. It brings dukkha to us. Follow the dukkha. Follow you. Like what? Chakkam vahato padam. Like the cart. The wheels of the carts follow the hoof of the ox that it pulls. So you can feel that, if that always, nowadays you may not see it here, right? We used to see when our children, we used to see those even in Sri Lanka. Cart is full of load. That nowadays truckloads are there. But those days they did not have trucks. Buddha's time, 500 carts they were carrying, they were pulling things to, in trade for different states in India. So that was a family, that's why he used this simile. As cart is very heavy, sometimes you go in the rocks uphill and downhill, so it is not easy, very painful. So for the ox it's pulling. Some people are very kind to them, some people are very rude or harsh to them. So, however, Buddha see it as that unpleasant things, misconducts that we do brings unhappiness to us or the dukkha to us like that. Dukkha follows us like the, heavy load of cart is following them, that ox that it pulls. Same way he used the opposite side of that, using pasannena manasa, paduttena manasa, polluted mind, pasannena manasa, pure mind, with pleasant mind. If you do anything that brings you happiness, like your own shadow that never leaves you. Your shadow always go with you. But is it heavy? There's nothing. You don't feel anything. But it follows. Very light. Very, cannot say pleasurable. There's no pleasure or pain in that. But, it's always keep going after you. So, such good bodily conduct. So we don't do anything stealing, but we always, we share what we have. And we don't kill any living being, but we treat them nicely, gently, compassionately. So these are the good things that we can do. So I believe if you look at these 5 principles, all these actions in the world can go through in these 5 basic principles. Very important. We have to be remembered everyday life. Such is the result of verbal conduct. What are the verbal? Let's look at verbal conduct. That's something also we have to do. Of course, third precept is sexual misconduct that we see, and also, as I always remind, that overindulgence of any senses could be bonding us to this samsara. Negative results could bring, because those are not pure. When the greed for the taste, when the greed is there for the, listening, what happened? We bonded with those voices. It happens to us, right? Think about it. It's not just I'm saying, but you know that you like particular singers. So we even as monks, we did, when somewhere, in Sri Lanka when we are living, when the new, song was released, we like to listen to that for a while. Then we don't go after it, but somehow, meaning-wise, mostly what happens is that for the voice we bonded. Even today, this very same thing happening. Tina Turner, when they sing, people go crazy. There are many like that. When Michael Jackson was there, he traveled all over the world. Why? We just go because, what happened to us is we go, when the other people go, we also go in. That thinking, it's something nice, let's go. Without much thinking, we run after things. We are in the rat race, so we keep going. All these things are, I believe, we can, if we go overindulging, wasting your time. If you go, you have to do your, studies as students, but this is something I must go. So that's kind of in a way. I'm not saying you should not listen to. Sometimes as a student when you do, or as a person who is working, Maybe there's something, because things that you do is so built up, so much tension. Then that particular way, in the background, there's a song is going. And also songs are not bad either. There are some songs are giving you the Dhamma. There are, mostly in Sri Lankan songs are mixed with Dhamma. It's about life. Very beautiful. We don't run after it, but those singers, our literature is connected with the Dhamma, enriched by Dhamma. So if that is, there are also English songs too in such a way, but I don't say that it's a bad thing. It's reminding of your life, the way of your life, nature of your life. So it would be not a bad thing to do. Same like you are listening to Dhamma. It's reminding. So it's a pleasurable way to present it. But if it is provoking your mind, there are, like rappers, I think, if I heard, I did not hear anything good, nice ones, but always, things like provoking your mind, provoke your senses. Such things, mostly in that new generation song, that's what they have. So therefore, in that category, in that nature of things are, michachara, it could be wrong conduct. And verbal, we came up to the one, and it's called verbal fight. Such is verbal conduct. Such is the result of good verbal conduct. What are the verbal conduct that we have? In the 5, I always, whenever I remind, I always remind those 4 verbal mistakes. Even though we always say, Musavada Veramani Sikkhapada. That's the famous one, always we say. Musavada, lying and deceiving other people. So, by deceiving what is a great mistake. Sila is always helping for the Bhoga Sampada. Sila, when we do observe this Sila in our everyday life, it helps us to improve our wealth too, as a byproduct of that, as a result. Sila. Silena sugating yanti, silena bhoga sampada, silena nibbuting yanti, tasma silang visodhe. That's why Buddha is encouraging us to purify ourselves. Silena sugating yanti. When we do practice Sila well, it helps us to be in a better place. Whatever the form, I don't know what form, whatever the form, that could help us to be in the better place. Sugati. This human realm is Sugati. 6 divine realm is Sugati. So lower than this is not Sugati but Dugati. Dugati means where you more suffering. Sugati means more convenient, comfortable state of living. So now, when you look at ourselves, see we are in the Sugati. Human realm is a Sugati. But aren't there people who are suffering? A lot. But some of us are, even though there is, things that brings unhappiness to us, but we comfortable, mostly without facing any kind of trouble, we may be living our lives. But depending on how we trained our mind, that's also a different way that we are handling. Based on it, we cannot decide what, but somehow, not worrying, we can be happy. Happiness is the thing that everybody is seeking for. Every being is seeking happiness. So Buddha did not attachment, he was always in happy. During the time that he was searching for, he went through so much of difficulties and pains, but he did not regard it as pain. He went through to find his determined, and after that, he was always, whenever he was not teaching, he was in peace. That's why he was encouraging monks. Monks, there are beautiful parks, trees, go and practice. So he always enjoyed being in the forest because it's peaceful. So verbal conduct is not lying. I go in sometimes, it reminds me certain benefits of that. That's why I went in that direction. So lying is a grave misconduct because you are deceiving other people. It could be mild, it could be a greater, deeper level too. So Buddha said shouldn't be done. And what is the other one? Verbal mistakes. Musavada pisuna vacha, tail tattering, like I did explain it yesterday. So you spread rumors because of, I like this person, I want to be friendly with that person, and therefore I may be spreading lies to his partner and spreading rumors, and they do. I have seen that young people. There are some young people, unbelievably, they do destroy the character of other, classmates. That's greed. So desirous for certain things, so much attachment into those actions, and they do destroy the other characters. I cannot understand how they do that. I know some people who have spoken to me. So very rude behavior, and they do destroy that's jealous. Without knowing the resultants of those, mental conditions, they do practice such bad, things, but it is not good. Only thing we can feel it, we can correct, or we can feel sympathize. We can, if there's opportunity, it's very difficult to, correct some people. But sympathetically we can, if there's opportunity for us to correct them, that would be a great blessing to them as well as the other people around them. Tail tattering, musavada pisuna, parusa vacha. There are also people who are abusing other people. Sometimes even in Buddhist families, let's say we have a maid to help us. You are always nice to your friends who come, very pleasant way you talk, but turning back, going into your, inside your home, you may be abusing that poor maid at home. Is that a good thing to do? No. But luckily, I see that in America they do treat equally. Law made it. These are volunteer precepts. Volunteer precepts, they don't, consider as something valuable. They forget about it. Buddha has given these principles. But once there is a law above you, you are afraid. They can sue you. That's suing culture in America. So therefore, they do not abuse. If they do abuse, they are in trouble. That could be in your company, that could be at your home. So therefore, they always treat nicely and take care of them. They have so much, some people are very nice. So I feel that they are like Buddhist. To me, they are Buddhist. So who did that? Law make it. They are afraid of it. They don't want to go to courts to resolve things. So therefore they are practicing. Therefore I always say that if we can change America into Buddhist, it's very easy, but they are afraid of it. Unknown fear is there. But people who know, who heard, they come searching for it, searching for the meditation. So therefore, we also have to be careful, mindful, who that who those people are and how we should be starting. If we try to do our culture, mostly what happens is we go with our cultures and try to do the same thing there. It doesn't work. Culture we can bring later. Not to bring, but it's in the sense of, for example, what we do by prostrating the Buddha. If we start from that point, they will never come back again. So therefore, different places, different practices, we have to mindfully apply them, for thinking of, very compassionate thinking of those people. Sharing Dhamma is not easy, even though, we have freedom. You have freedom to think. Buddha never said, believe what I said. They can think. Once they start reading, they are very happy with that. They learn it. They wish I found this earlier. There are people like that. So Dhamma, there is a place for Dhamma. So we all can share with our friends. They observe you. Observing the way you behave, they come and ask questions from you. So, verbal abuse and abusive language. So we should not, when you abuse it, even your mind get polluted, dirty. What we're supposed to do is practicing metta, right? Always. Those are the four sublime state of living. Buddha encourages us. Metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha in everyday life. But if we forget that and start abusing poor person who is helping you at home, that is not right. Then we are not doing the right thing. When we are not practicing the right thing. So then the next fourth verbal mistake is sampappalapa. Sampappalapa means gossiping. Idols, yes. Yeah. So you just keep, sometimes, we do have such things when you meet your friend or someone that you don't know. We are waiting, let's say at the hospital, you are waiting until your turn comes and another person comes. Then you have to break those barriers, then you start talking. Then what do we talk? Then pick up something. What is happening? What we saw in the newspaper, right? Newspapers are never bringing us anything good nowadays, right? Even the news. They are spreading bad news. That's what they are enjoying. So therefore, when we hear that, kind of our mind gets corrupt too. Anger could arise in that. Nothing else. Most of the time, anger is the one that popping up. So we have to watch our mind. So these verbal mistakes are, if we keep doing, whenever we do it, so definitely come back. Buddha's advice is, remember advice given by the Buddhists, always he said, Dhammi va kata aryo va tunhi bhavo. Either observe noble silence or else speak something meaningful, something that person can benefit or you can benefit. So that is what he was encouraging us to do in the sense of verbal practice. Number 5, intoxication. I like to add something into that. You all know intoxication and people do that, but I know that in your country you have the laws that you cannot carry drugs. You get punished. Capital punishment is here? Right. Because of that fear, they will not do it. Otherwise, what they do, all these politicians, nobody else, they are the one who is in power, they are the one who is abusing it. And so greedy for money, they go to different areas and poor children, they give it free at the beginning. But once they get it free, they start looking for it. They get addicted. They do so many mistakes. They steal from their home. If they cannot find money, they will take either their mother's, jewelries or things, what they have, treasury things that they have. And such dangerous. That is happening in Sri Lanka too. We are a Buddhist country. But politicians, when they are too greedy, they destroy the land, destroy the country, destroy the people. That is happening. Very sad, but it has gone even to the far away places like small villages. So their parents are so much going through pain because of that. That's one. And also, what did they do? I don't know what is the condition here, but in Sri Lanka, every place you can see the new bars selling alcohol. Why did they do that? People who were supporting to them to come into the power, now they want to treat. They gave license to their friends to open bar or the place where they sell alcohol. It's a very sad thing. But they are Buddhist leaders. Why do they do that? Greed. There's another kind of intoxication. That's what I'm coming to. They call Bala Mother. Power, intoxicated by power. Yobbana Mother, intoxicated by youthness. Arogya Mother, intoxicated by good health. There are some people, they are, of course, in young age, many people, because of their youthness, they are not getting sick. So they look down upon the people who are getting sick. So these are also intoxication. Your mind, you're arrogant, though it's harming us. So in addition to this alcohol and drugs, these are also intoxicants. Buddha said that they are harming us. So destroying our spirituality. So that's what they do. As I said, who came into power, they gave license to other people, their friends, to open the bars. By opening a bar, what do they do? They destroy the economy of the country. And their behavior of the country too. Practice. That's, people this enticing. When they see they are already guided out of the Dhamma, away from the Dhamma. That's very sad. Disadvantage for the people. People who even this practice, but they are searching for sensation, sensual pleasure. So they think that excitement, and also people don't know how to drink either. Since there are alcohol, they keep drinking. I don't know, it's maybe even here too. There are some people, they do very decent way of drinking. I know English people, they have, as in Japan, they do every evening when the dinner time comes, in the bullet train, they do serve liquor. They call it misuari. That's healthy purpose. Some people they never have taken medication, but they do small glass of wine, I believe whiskey. Whiskey, misuari ikanga desu ka? They ask that question. Huh? Yes, with water they do serve. Not too much, not to get, hike. They do serve for the people who have that habit. They do buy it and eat with, when they have their dinner. And English people, they do the same thing. I don't know if it is all, but some decent people, They do have their dinner, after that they go to drink. Not to abuse it. Many people who do not know how to drink, they do abuse it. They try to this, for as if they are living only that day. That's what they do. At least if they are selling it, they should be guiding them. They didn't do it either. So, many people, they die because of sickness, cirrhosis. Who is spending that money? That government has to do that. They have to have a different budget for that. Health issues. So, but these people, they didn't see it. They are blind because of their power. So therefore this intoxication is very dangerous. People destroy many lives, not one lives. And they don't want to listen to hear it. When monks explain it to them, it doesn't matter to them. If money comes to them, they have to treat their friends. That's what they did. It's a very, very sad situation because they are gone away from the Dhamma because of their greed and because of their blind nature, power blind. Important thing is for them to be on the power. So therefore this politics is not really good. There's no righteous. Buddha always encouraged righteousness. Take care of the country, take care of the people as righteous way. But that has gone away. I believe maybe it's very small percentage who may be thinking, who may be careful about, serving their country as a leader. Main leaders are not nice. I know some people, certain countries, they do resign when they do have some mistakes, in Japan especially. If ever happen anything not acceptable, they do resign, taking the responsibility for that. I appreciate those people's behavior. That should be the way to many politicians in the world. So Buddha says, in using gentleness and harshness, teach such good bodily conduct, such is the result of good bodily conduct. Such is the bodily misconduct. Such is the results of bodily misconduct. Such is good verbal conduct. Such is the result of good verbal conduct. Such is the verbal misconduct. Such is the result of verbal misconduct. Such is the good mental conduct. Such is the result of good mental conduct. Such is the mental misconduct. Such is the results of mental misconduct. Such are the devas. Such are the human beings. Such is hell. Such is animal womb. Such is the realm of the hungry shades. So he showed us to people what results could either negative benefit or positive benefit from your behavior. So showing that he is encouraging people to behave in the righteous path. Dhamma, path of Dhamma. That's what he is encouraging here, showing is here. And if a tameable person doesn't submit either to a mild training or to a harsh training, or to a mild and harsh training, what do? Then Buddha says, in that situation, what does he do? Submit either to a mild training or to a harsh training, or to a mild harsh training, then I kill himself, Kesi. The Buddha used the word kill. So, what does that mean now? Kesi surprised. It was a shock to him. Oh, Blessed One does not kill. So he says here, but it is not proper for Blessed One to take life, and yet Blessed One just said, I kill him, Kesi. So he was asking. Now you can see now Kesi has almost gone into his Dhamma realm. So he, for whatever reason, maybe he heard about Buddha and therefore he came. We don't know if he were coming to learn Dhamma, but however, Buddha did not let go of him, because Buddha saw ability for this man to benefit from. Buddha always looked into the people. He can read, the minds of the people. He can see that nature. He had that ability. Parachitta vijanana, the mental capacity to know the other person's mind. It is true, Casey, that it is not proper for Tathagata to take life. But if a tameable person doesn't submit either to a mild training or to a harsh training, or to mild and harsh training, then a Tathagata doesn't regard him as being worth speaking to or admonishing. That's what he did. He ignored that person because no benefit, waste of energy. So he gave up. He observed noble silence. That is his practice. Lucky because he had that ability to see that person, then he practiced in such a way. This is what it means to be totally destroyed in doctrine and discipline, when the Tathagata doesn't regard one as being worth speaking to or admonishing, and one's knowledgeable fellows in the holy life don't regard one as being worth speaking to or admonishing. So Buddha, once he realized, he did not see now so many people. Remember what I said yesterday? I was telling you that Buddha had as a bodhisattva, he wants to save all sentient beings. But he reflected on this Dhamma, and then he figured out this is very difficult. This Dhamma is so deep, and could it be realized by the people? He was thinking about it. And definitely, suppose now, very simple way if you look at it, suppose you are an executive of the company, and you can offer a job. Your friend is there. Friend needs a job. But the job that you have, he is not qualified. Can you offer the job to him? You cannot, right? So same thing with all of us. If we are not qualified, even the Buddha is here today, we would not be able to benefit from him. That is why this practice is important. Try our best to qualify ourselves and learn and practice. It's hard. There are so much of weaknesses. We all have weaknesses, remember. Even though I am in robe, definitely, I don't get angry as I used to. I change myself, that I'm happy about. But when I do such a way, so people think, oh, this monk is very weak. He doesn't know how to train, how to maintain the temple. No, that is not my habit, to yell at anybody. So we all can be very compassionate and so on, but other people could think differently. That's their perception. But what we believe, what we have learned, we can apply in our everyday life. And we can treat people nicely and offer the Dhamma as much as we can. If they do practice, since we cannot see the mind of them, sometimes we can see why this person is coming, what his mental attitudes, what he has, so we can figure out. But we may not be able to. So by doing so, we improving our spirituality, we can help others to improve their spirituality. All what we do today and during this time, that would be helping us too. Whenever we see the Dhamma, we have to make that wish and that goal. Remember, Buddha said sometimes, even though I ask you to make a wish, I will always do that. But Buddha said, mere wishing is not going to do right thing. You have to practice for it. There's one discourse, beautiful one, talks about, if you want to maintain your beauty, it's not wishing is going to help, but you have to do right things to maintain your beauty. Suppose now if you always habitually keep eating and eating wherever you go, So you may not maintain your beauty. So that Buddha encouraged that, be mindful and practice. We think of what we're supposed to do. There are a lot of habits we have to let go. This is the difficult thing. Renouncing our habits is the most difficult thing. So therefore, we have to have effort, we have to have determination. So, it is true case that it's not proper to Tathagata to kill life. So he said, his knowledgeable fellows in the holy life don't regard him as a being worth speaking to or admonishing. This is what it means to be totally destroyed in the doctrine and discipline. When the Tathagata doesn't regard one as a being worth speaking to or admonishing, and one's knowledgeable fellows in the holy life don't regard one as being worth speaking to or admonishing. Yes, Lord, wouldn't one be totally destroyed if the Tathagata doesn't regard one as being worth speaking to or admonishing, and one's knowledgeable fellows in the holy life don't regard one as being worth speaking to or admonishing? There's one kind of punishment given to, like Sati. There are a couple of them, Buddha's dispensation. They punished him. Even the Channa, I believe, Buddha gave the punishment as Brahmadanda. Nobody spoke to him. This is what he's saying. Useless. He's not changing. So therefore, he assigned what we call as Brahmadanda, the punishment of silence. Nobody speaking. It's hard, right? Suppose now if among one of you, if anybody is not talking to you, ignoring you, it's very painful. So that's the opportunity for them to change. But such things happen during the Buddha's time. If Buddha knew that this person is not going to be benefit, he didn't do that. It does not mean that he did ignore everybody. But of course, at least he gave some people, some shared the Dhamma. But for some people, he didn't. So, good example is, there was just nearby the monastery, there was Chunda. Who was the Chunda? Anybody knows the Chunda? Person who was killing pigs. Right? There was a man. But Buddha never attempted to teach him. He knew that, his ability. So there was such, he couldn't, but he did approach. See, certain days he went early morning, he got up and he went, look into this, with Maha Karuna, he looked into the world, to whom should I help today? Like that's how he met Sunita. That's how he met Sopaka. That's how he helped, Matta Kundali and Rajumala. All these poor people, they were about to destroy their life and very poor condition. So he far away, looking at that one person, he walked and he helped them. He shared the Dhamma. So that is, he saw it. This person have ability. If I don't teach, that may be wasted life. So therefore, he approached and he taught. So that's what he is saying here. Destroyed, totally destroyed. When Buddha was not teaching, when the other, spiritual, the monks who are around, they were not talking to those people. Magnificent Lord, magnificent, just as if he were to place upright what was overturned, to reveal what was hidden, to show the way to one who was lost, or to carry a lamp into the dark, so that those with eyes could see forms. In the same way, has blessed one through many lines of reasoning, made the Dhamma clear. I go to the Blessed One for refuge, to the Dhamma and to the community of monks. May the Blessed One remember me as a lay follower who has gone to him for refuge from this day forward for life. So this is what he did. So people, now host trainer came to see the Buddha, not expecting such conversion. He changed himself. It is not Buddha did that. Buddha just showed the path. He shared the Dhamma, and he was very pleased with that, and then he wanted to follow him. So, current conversion is different. Some people, they by force, by giving money, they do convert. Dhamma is not for something like that. Dhamma, once we realize, that could be beneficial, and they realize it, they do practice it. It is not easy like what in like cases, but there are people who trying to see the benefit of meditation nowadays, especially in who are not non-Buddhist communities. They hear about it, they want for a long time, it works in their mind, then finally they approach, finally they go and they search for internet and find out, then at the end they go to see the monks and talk to them. And they benefit from that. And I suggest you to read this. There are many sutras, remember. I don't know if you do any search in, there is one site called Access to Insight. In that particular website, you can read. At least pick up something for a day and read it. Dhamma is available, not like before. Before you have to come to temple just to every time that when you want to learn something. But nowadays, at the tip of your fingers, you have that. I know all of you using computers, so you can find, read. Tripitaka is there. At least Sutta Pitaka is helpful for you can read it. So Anguttara Nikaya there are a lot of, Anguttara Nikaya, Sanyutta Nikaya, small, not very long. There are some of them are long, but many of them are short. So you can read. These both of them are from Anguttara Nikaya. Numericals, something to do with numbers. Yes. So this, both of these are, I believe, in fifth category, fifth book. They divided as it. And I chose this, the reason was that, just to read it. We can read something, we can find out something. Just to share that understanding I picked up from the sutras. And this Abhinandana Sutta, Abhisandha Sutta has these 5 principles again, the same thing it reads. So anybody likes to read it, or would you like to discuss a different thing? Not different things, but based on our questions we can learn something. Yes? Right.
Okay, so when Bhante says sexual misconduct, because now it's getting more and more common in the West and now spreading to the East, is people who just have these kind of relations for fun and are not married, but they are single and not cheating on their partners. Is this also considered sexual misconduct?
That's going with the mostly what is the common law nowadays in America, there are people living together. They don't get married. There's no legal status. But they are not married, living together. They enjoy their, relationship, continue that. So therefore I cannot say it. It is wrong. But if you have multiple partners, that means that you are doing something wrong. So therefore that's how I see it. Multiple partners means that you are not practicing. Okay?
Another question is that what about the LGBT community, the lesbians, gays, trans, bi, and so on? Is it considered sexual misconduct if, let's say, they are married or in a relationship, to have these kind of relationships where it is man or girl or even changing their sex? Is it okay under the teachings of the Buddha?
You know, when you look at the teachings of the Buddha, what are we doing by that way? I cannot go with these, practices, but somehow some countries they do legally. They have permission to do that. That's what if that is what they are looking. All these things came to legal matter because people, when they are searching for certain things, when they look, nowadays they collect data, and so many people want to do that, and they do approve it. So that's what happened. Certain states in US, they did approve. Legally, it's okay. Some, they don't like it. But really, spiritual-wise, so now when we look at it from the viewpoint of human rights, they may be going with human rights. We have a right to do this. So that's their right. But Buddha would laugh at it sometimes, perhaps. But he would not say no. He would be silenced for this. That's the people, their choice. They choose to do that. Buddha is not to control people. He was sharing the Dhamma. This is if you do this, this is what's going to, results he would show. So, let's say 2 girls. I knew some lesbian girls, who were married. And, but they also sometimes they divorce again. They were not satisfied. They go back. Then they cry, "Oh, my partner, she left me." So, if they're having good partnership and they were maintaining their friendship, if they couldn't live with a man, so they find a friend to live together because they are lonely. So at least when they have somebody, I don't see, I'm not going to approve it as, I don't know what Buddha would say that, it could create problems. If it is not creating problems, friends can live together. If we see it as friends are living together. Recently, when I was coming here, before that I wanted to do, our temple is, start just did the groundbreaking ceremony. Some politicians came. That politician said, "My husband said this. He's a man." So that means I asked someone, then he said he's gay. So they are living together. So if it is, I don't know, everybody's becoming friends for have sexual behavior or enjoyment, or if they are doing that for friendship, they somehow, sometimes people, according to Dhamma also, we said that they are, for some reasons, so they have so much attachment, so life to life they go together. If that is the case, maybe their friendship, enjoying their friendship. Instead of getting married and having abused by wife or abused by husband, they may not want to go through that. They may be living alone, or there are some people, they like to either live alone, or they may be going with the friends living together. Therefore, I don't know much about it, so many reasons could be behind that behavior. But as a friends, if they are living, you and I cannot say it's bad. Their friendship, maintaining friendship, living together, they need. We have a very good man. He was living 35 miles away from the temple. One day, he met a Sri Lankan man in the hotel. He was a bellhop. And he saw a Sri Lankan man, and then he spoke when he says Sri Lanka, then there are many Sri Lankans living in where I am living. So he said, somehow that opening conversation lead to a temple. So that man who came, and he was going to go to temple, see the monks. Where's the temple, he asked. Then he came to know about the temple, and he started going there. And then, but he never got married. What happened was he changed his place of living, and he came closer, 2 blocks away from the temple. He started living. When the next door people in the the temple is here. Next door was, another family was there. They rented their apartment, and he came to that one. So every day he used to come to temple, bring, dana to. He's a Caucasian, man. He learned Dhamma. He read. He almost remember all the sutras of middle and saying. That much he read. He knows the Dhamma. So he was living recently, he retired and went to Pennsylvania, and he was living there. And his friend, I don't think that they have any sexual relationship, but they did live together. Another man, he died recently. He invited me to go to his funeral. His friend was a Catholic. He is a Buddhist. But, just to show his respect, he went for the funeral. That day, unfortunately, I was promised to go, but I could not go because of another event took place, and I had to participate in that. So there are good people. You are not becoming Buddhist just going to temple. Learning, reading. So, and also people, even though they're living together, that does not mean that they are sexually engaged, but they are sharing apartment. That could be it. So you have to have a partner. I don't know how they are living, but therefore I cannot put them into any category. Gay and lesbian, they are friendships. They are friends as friends. They are living. I believe that's what they are doing.
Bhante,
Yes.
I just want to clarify here, because in this booklet, it's mentioned here Kamisu, which you mentioned just now.
Mm-hmm.
But in this one, it's called Brahmacharya.
Brahmacharya, yes.
Which is the correct one?
No. Kamesu Michachara, daily precepts, 5 principles. Brahmacharya means that's 8 precepts or 10 precepts. Once a month, people observe 8 precepts.
Upasaka day.
Upasaka, yes.
But this Brahmacharya is actually abstain from what? Is it abstain from
Celibate.
anything? Oh, celibate.
Yes.
I see.
Yes. Practicing celibacy.
Okay. Come to this. We are under this novitiate.
Yes.
After this novitiate, we have to celebrate?
No, it's we finish it here, so that at least you ask for 8 days or 9 days you are here. You are trying to not even think of, sexual behavior, okay?
I see, during this period.
Right. You keep your mind here, in the present moment, practicing spirituality.
So
that is your effort.
So this is the difference between the
Right.
words. I see. One thing, another one is, this morning we are learning no killing, and we have to sweep the floor. There's a lot of ants.
Ants.
So actually end up we cannot even sweep the floor. Because if we look at the ants, they won't move. Everywhere is ants. So end up if we abstain from killing, we are not able to sweep the floor.
That's true. It depends, as you saw it, seeing it, remembering the precept, you cannot do it. So what I would do, I would avoid doing that.
So tomorrow morning we will say we won't be doing the chores.
I would do picking up the leaves from hand. Yeah. I also practice in such a way, same thing. I always, when I do sweep, I see if there's any ant. I don't sweep that area.
The whole area. And then there's houses of the ants, they build hands, which I actually sweep away the floor. Sweep away. But because when I sweep it nicely lah. The ant is still moving.
Right.
Probably, maybe it feel a bit pain, I'm not sure. But I think it's not dying lah, because it's still moving. I can see that. So, yeah, if that's the case, tomorrow we pick up.
Yes.
But there will be a long time to pick up, you see.
But we practice patience in that.
Okay.
That's the opportunity for us to practice whatever the amount that you can do it.
All right. Thank you.
So you remember now in the what do you call this, Jain tradition? Jains, they always carry a bunch of peacock feathers to sweep the floor. As they move, they sweep the floor and walk. But it's still, even that's very extreme non-violent principle that they had. But I think even the feathers that could hurt, some ants too. But I just want to bring out, that's how they were practicing. But for us, when as we learn to practice metta, so we can read that Metta Sutta. We are going to read it in the evening in English, right? So what it says, if we know the meaning, he should not commit any slight wrong so that the wise men might find fault in him. May all beings be happy and safe. May their hearts be wholesome. Whatever living beings there may be, feeble, strong, long, stout or medium, short, small or large, seen or unseen, those dwelling far and near, those who are born or those who are coming, those are to be born, may all beings without exception be happy mind, have happy minds. So we are practicing this. Metta practitioners, when we remember that, I did practice, therefore how can I do that hurting those ants also lives? So we're going to do that. I think therefore we can, cleaning is to be done, so we can pick up with the patient.
The sand, sometimes the ants build house, sands, after that they left. They left the sand there lah.
Right.
And it's no more occupying the place lah. If we don't sweep, that means you'll be there also.
Okay.
So we have to sweep, otherwise no point sweeping floors at the end of the day, correct?
Maybe we can blow them off.
Sorry? They have moved. They have moved,
Right.
They have moved because that's empty.
Maybe they have food over there. That could be something that they looking for.
Oh.
But whatever it is, simply what I can say is we cannot hurt them.
Can sweep away the house, yeah? Empty house.
Empty house?
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Bhante, let's say if we see insect building some nest on the plant and we remove the plant and put somewhere, is it breaking the first precept?
If you are putting the plant somewhere else, you didn't hurt the insect. So insect goes with that, right?
Yeah.
No harm. I don't think that's harm.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Intention is not to hurt. Not you get hurt either.
If a human being, just walk across a path and not seeing a snail, step on a snail and it kills the snail, would you consider that as a breach of the killing?
If you didn't see, that is a good example. It's Chakkupala story. You remember? Chakkupala, a monk. And that story, that's first Manopubbangamaddhamma Manusara, that's first stanza, related stories there. There was Buddha's time, there was a monk called Chakkupala. He was determined to, always monks go to see the Buddha before they go to the forest during the Vassana retreat. So this particular monk, he went and he got the permission, he got the object to meditate on. He went and he did not sleep. He was determined, I will achieve a goal from this 3 months practice. So he never lied down. He was sitting and standing and walking. He did practice without sleeping. He deprived the sleep. As a result of that, what happened? As a result of his practice, he gained the ability to see the Dhamma. He became an Arahant, but at the same time he lost his eyesight because he deprived the sleep. And after that he went to the monastery to see the Buddha. That previous night there was heavy rain, and in the morning this monk was walking, pacing up and down in particular area. There's after rain there are kind of worms coming out from the earth. A lot of them, because of his walk on them, and he killed them. And so monks, unattained, unenlightened monks, start talking about this. And finally they always go to Buddha and complain when they see some things like that. And they went to see the Buddha and he said, the monk Chakkupala, he killed all these animals, insects by walking on them. Then Buddha said, he asked them, did you see he was killing it? And he didn't say it. They said no. Then they said, like you didn't see him killing, he didn't see those insects over there. He was blind. So he revealed it to them. And then also he explained why was it. There's another story connected to that. Because his jealous action that in one of his previous lives. People, even we can relate to those kind of things even today. He was a long time ago in samsara. He was a physician. Let's say herbal physician. And there's a poor woman who lost her eyesight. She came to get, treatment. But funny thing was that she promised that she couldn't do. But she was eager to get well. Because of that, with excitement, she said, please help me to get my eyesight back. If you do that, I will become a slave to you with my children. See, people sometimes they do this kind, even today. This kind of mistakes, promises, they do because of excitement. And what was the result? She got the eyesight, but now she wants to cheat him. She didn't want to go to work, be a slave to him. Then she said, I cannot see, he's still not well. But this man knew she was lying. Then what he did was, he gave another medicine to become blind. He made her blind. He was angry. And he shouldn't have that kind of anger either. These are people, when you don't know Dhamma, this is what happens. We do, counter-attacking, we do wrongdoings. So this is what happened. His anger was so strong, and she revenged on that woman. That's a simple thing he could have ignored, but he'd take revenge on her because she was lying. And as a result of that, this karmic reaction came until the last existence. He became an Arahant and he lost his eyesight. Go back to many of those kind of stories. You see, even they become an Arahant, whatever residual of this, negative karma, they come to, come on them. What happened to Venerable Moggallana? Yes. Same, there are not one, there are many. But there could be many who didn't have anything, but these things happen. They have to go through that. As according to that stories, that's how I see it. So therefore, if you don't see, don't worry about it. If you see, be careful about it. So seeing, we cannot do it. Though this, with either we have it get connected with anger or it connected with moha, dosa or moha. So in that case, dosa, dvesha means anger. That's what happened with the doctor's story. But certain other situations, because don't know the Dhamma, don't know the result of it, therefore we would be doing it. So Dhamma application, we have to think, maybe, always like you ask, if we discuss, then we come to know about it. So discussion is always bringing us, enlightening us at certain things. There are many stories, many stories. See, even the Sivali story. Oh, I found the Sivali story. If you give me your email or something, I can send it to you. And also I found the Noble Quest discourse. That's number 26 in Middle and Saying. So I encourage all of you at least to find, since it is available, so try to read something. So that brings us to, understanding. We see at least something. So it would help us in long-term Dhamma practice. Then we can avoid such situations in our lives. Anybody have any other questions? Sila. Sila is very important practice. Sila, Samadhi, Panya, that's what we are talking about, right? Sila is the foundation. Being on the foundation, we do other things. It's not easy, it's hard. But I'm not telling you that I'm saying it's not easy to encourage you to do wrong things. No. Hard work, that's a challenge. We always looking for challenges. So I always get children to do that, hard challenges. I tell them that, I have 2 days of, year, children get, observe Sila. So the challenge is, so this is not a normal day. Today is a very special day for all of you. Specialty is that you are making effort not to speak to your friend. If you speak, you are going to violate everything. So if you try to stay here, observing still, without talking to your friend, you are going to be very successful. Because every day else they are talking. So they do it. They try their best to behave very quietly and nicely. Yes. I do that because I think in their lives we have to help them, for them to understand. Now, as young children, they may not understand, but in the later lives, they will come back to it. Hoping so, thinking these children would be benefit in the future, in future lives. So I share Dhamma with the children.
It's regarding the meditation also, because I remember writing here, Bhante said, watching our breath. What do you mean by watching? How does this...
Watching in the sense, watching through your mind, not from your eyes.
Yeah. Because the breathing is, we breathe.
Yes.
Yeah, we breathe. So we are watching, we breathe.
Breathe in. From your mind, you watch, you feel. Watching in the sense of not real physical watch, but when you feel, that sensation helps you to measure it, going back.
I'm not able to feel the sensations, but I'm feeling the movement.
But you feel the movement in the...
Yes, and the tummy up, and
that's also helpful.
And I force it, not force,
yeah,
it's like I'm doing it, but so this how it comes. So it's one way also, is it?
Yes.
Something like this?
Yeah.
So it's correct way lah.
Correct.
Okay, thanks, Bhante.
If you like to learn a little bit more about this, there's a really beautiful book written by Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese monk. Miracle of Mindfulness. Read it. It's based on Satipatthana Sutta. Miracle of Mindfulness. Later on, he used the application also. There's one chapter called washing dishes. It's really good, it reminds you. Definitely, our mind is somewhere else when we do work. So, once we train ourselves to practice our mindfulness, to be on our breath, that's our initial training. We keep doing that, that helps always. And then we apply it even when we are washing dishes. Then that means that you are living in the current moment. So what Buddha says is we are not living here. Always either we are living in the memory, among memories in the past, or in the future among fantasies. So therefore, if we can train ourselves to live in the present moment, that's the life. That's what Buddha says. Live here, live now. There are many books nowadays. When I went to the US, those days only 2 Buddhist books I found at the biggest bookstore. One is Dr. Suzuki's Zen Buddhism. The other one was Professor Gombrich's, Buddhism in Ceylon. There's a huge book that is dissertation that he wrote for his PhD. Now, if you go, there are a whole section for the Buddhist books. Every day there are Buddhist books are written. Maybe those Americans, they come this side and they learn and they go back. Like Power of Now. That's somebody who came to Burma, Myanmar. That person, he wrote that. Many people they use, but unfortunately they never mention about Buddha. But Buddha will not angry with that. What do you call that? You sometimes, respectfully, nowadays, especially they do honor the author of whatever you are using, right? But in this sense, they do learn from Buddha's method and they modify it, they use it, they write books. But no gratitude to the Buddha in many of those books. But at least we are happy. Books are written by those people in those countries. Some kind of rooting is taking place. When early days there were not many, they were yelling at us when we were going there, screaming at us, not knowing who we are. But after 9/11 it changed. They came to know, they came to learn about. Nowadays, if we get into a train, so at least there are a couple of people who greet us, putting their palms together. So there's some changes taking place. There are nice meditation centers, just run by only Americans. So it is. There are. I think it may take few more years, even long time it could be, but it's really good. Dhamma is, they get the Dhamma, they are taking it, learning it, studying it, experimenting it, and do the studies with Dalai Lama and regarding the meditation part. So therefore there's a lot of things are happening. Positive things are happening. It's hard. You can imagine now people who are not used to any kind of spirituality, any kind of spiritual practice. It is hard for them to get into something. There should be always shock for them to turn to that side. With the shock, they do change. There was a shock from 9/11, and there was a shock from before that. There was one shock. There was a blackout. They got stuck in the trains, underground trains. So they were so scared with that at that time. Then they searched for it. Start searching. Well, this is not the life that we were thinking of. So everybody was looking for the life without trouble. But when the trouble start coming, so that was a shock. They start searching, looking for the other way. This is not what we are expecting. How is these things happening? Why? What is the way out of this? So then they search for it.
Yesterday, we went through the shaving ceremony. Okay, I was just wondering, when we reflect on Kesa, Loma, Naka, Danta, and Tacho, and then we do a reverse: Kesa, Loma, Naka, Danta, Tacho.
Tacho, Danta.
I was wondering whether is this a part of the 32 parts of the body, or is it a reflection of the shaving?
You know, I believe why it happens. So, for example, let me go to at the very beginning. Now, this later on we made these things. Somehow the monks got these ritualistic things. At the very starting point, there was nothing. Buddha said, "Ehi bhikkhu," for the five monks. So no ceremonies like that. Yeah. So later on, so they gave this, I think elderly monks, they did decide to, like Sopaka. Sopaka is a young boy who was 7 years old. In that story, I believe there is, about this, Kesa. Because when he was shaving, he became enlightened. That story begins. I think from that time onward, they start using this. I didn't read it anywhere, but I know that story. And from that point, using that, they used this ritualistic thing. Kesa, Loma, Naka, Danta. All these things we know that.
So in a way, you can consider it as a reflection for whoever finds it suitable.
Yeah. You can, it's reflecting on your body parts. These are impermanent. And especially...
It seems to me it becomes reality because in the past, I'm aware that there is a contemplation on the parts. But what it means to me is not an experience. In other words, I'm just reading the 32 parts of the body.
Right.
So when suddenly I was asked to sort of say these things,
Yeah, curiosity is reasonable.
it comes to mind that it seems real, because when we read anything, this is just information. So to me, it seems that it becomes something real and happening to me at that time. So it is just, I think, I was wondering whether it's because I become very dependent on my body sensitivity, because I use my basic body activities, which is 5 senses,
Right.
includes the mind, very, I try to be acute.
Mm.
So sometimes I find that people misunderstand. So I can recognize it very quickly.
Hmm. But one sense, these are, when beauty, part of our beauty. So you are removing it. You have made up your mind, so become bold, no more beauty is there, so you are giving up that attachment that you have. Kesa, Loma, Naka, even nails also, right? Especially ladies, you very treasure it. And Naka, Danta, and the teeth also. Danta Kalyani, that's how they call it. Kesa Kalyani is something good. So it's very, treasure something for the, especially ladies, if they have long hair and if they have beautiful smile. So these are treasured culturally. Tacho, and of course our skin, covering all this body. That's the biggest organ in us. So that's also provide us some beauty. So maybe because of that, it started to contemplate on this. These are, even though they are such, they change. They would never stay like this. So reminding of impermanent nature. You're welcome. Thank you. So you can be always happy what you have done to become, giving up that luxuries, giving up that, your habits in the daily life, that routine life that you had. So at least by joining, making that decision, you decided to become ascetic or recluse even for a short time. This is, if we could maintain it, definitely that's a great blessing. You always can reflect on it and be happy. So by practicing, there could be things that is not used to, yet start thinking about it. Now I don't have names. Your names I forgot. What's your name?
Chris.
I know Chris. Chris, I remember I wanted you the Buddhist name. Do you remember it? What is it?
Vishnu?
The Buddhist name that gave. Chandana? Chandana? Okay. Okay. Chandana. Now, did you grow up in environment where the Dhamma was existing? Yeah. Buddhist environment. You? Where?
I go to a few monasteries.
In Holland?
No, in England, in Amaravati.
Ah, Amaravati.
Amaravati, I stayed there for 3 times. And last year I stayed for 4 weeks in Wat Chat in
Thailand.
And this year also for 6 weeks in Wat Chat.
Okay. So you do read, and did you get a chance to read, sutras?
But I don't, personally, I don't want to read too much. Because also get very confusing when you read too much. That's just my experience.
True, it could be. But always, you have to consult someone as you read it, discuss.
So maybe what you mentioned before, it's very good advice. Just keep it limited to 1 sutra a day or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Contemplate on it and things like that.
Yeah, remember, keep that in mind. These, sutras are taught to different persons, different people, with different personalities. So therefore, we have to be very careful. Not everything could be applicable to you, but he did not taught different Dhamma, same thing, but he presented in different ways. So therefore, there are certain things you may get confused. But it's nice to know the Dhamma, basic, that what we are supposed to do and what we're not supposed to do. So then you can stay in the right path. That would be helping. And also at the same time, if you do practice meditation, if you have time to spend time, that would be helpful for you to see what he's talking about. Meditation is not the only thing. But according to, if you read, I recommend all of you to read, if you have time, to Middle and Saying. There are certain sutras you may get confused, yet slowly read it. There are many people, who are foreign to these teachings. They do reach middle length they start with. But I'm recommending you to see it, either Sangyutta or the Anguttara, because they are shorter discourses. Middle length also very helpful, a lot of things. Oh, I wanted to find one thing about Dhammadinna. I think that's Chatta Lisa Sutta. Chattalisa Sutta is very important, very informative, it's very nice. I believe that Dhammadinna Sutta is talking about coming in Maha Chattalisa Sutta. There are 40 questions. It's a very interesting story. Dhammadinna and her husband, they both in the samsara, they have performed virtues and both of them did not want to get married. What happened was, but they were from two cities, parents were searching for, they wanted to make them get married. That's how it happened. But in their conversation, both of them agreed not to live as husband and wife, let's get ordained later. So that was the idea. There are beautiful, interesting sutras in the Majjhima Nikaya. Of course, the sutras are always interesting. So he was talking either to a group or either to looking at one person. But they are helping us to enhance our Dhamma knowledge. So that is what is happening. And I find that I was so interested in how she presented 40 questions and she explained it. There's one particular thing that she was asked about, Nirodha Samapatti. So she was talking about it. I will, maybe I will send it to you, I may not be able. That is a kind of long one. Long in the sense at least 4 or 5 pages perhaps. So let's wind up and see. Please feel free to, you don't have to ask, do what we are, questions are always not necessary to be what we discuss at the present class. Something that popping up in your mind, what we related last few days. So you can always feel free to ask questions. And that would helping everybody else to learn something. And even to learn something for us too. We are also learning, remember that. That's why I always say that we are learning together. And because of this class, I'm going back to sutras, what I read. So it is helping to refresh our memories in Dhamma. So let's say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Wish all of you, by learning and by practicing these few days, whatever the meritoriousness that we develop, be shared with all the devas and also all our departed relatives. If anybody expecting any kind of spiritual help, may they rejoice His wholesomeness. May they all, and may we all attain ultimate bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu.